pangkalikasan, kumalakas.
Hello, good
Good
morning.
morning, everybody. Good day wherever
Pleasant
you are.
morning. Pleasant morning.
Yes.
Yes.
Naglagay ba kayo ng mga bandera sa labas ng inyong mga bahay?
Oo nga, no?
Independence Day.
today.
Oo, syempre, dapat feeling. Like, no matter what, tayo, we should not forget that we're in this world temporarily, right? But yet, we are given so much responsibilities as human beings. And the true independence is not like now we're celebrating the independence from being colonized.
Oo.
Looking at the bigger picture, as human beings, we have a chance to free ourselves from this, ang tawag the world of temporary conditions that has put us in a situation that we are given and equipped with a means to free ourselves. So pagdating ng independence o pag pinag-uusapan ng independence, ang lalim ng independence that a person is able to free himself from the clutches of this world.
Oo,
Yeah.
yan ang talagang
From
independence.
illusion, attachment.
Siyempre, there are means. That's why we also have to look to our mentors, to the people that have guided us, to help us see a clear direction and light in the end of the tunnel. So when we live our life in this world, we are able to have a clear purpose and direction.
Yan. Ang talagang ang nagbibigay liwanag at nagbibigay sa atin ng kaligayahan. Yung the
True,
happiness
true.
from being free.
Yeah.
You know?
And knowing
Knowing.
how to
Freedom,
be free.
you know?
Yeah?
Freedom from ignorance din,
Oh.
di ba? Kaya
Knowing
tayo,
where to go, having a purpose.
Yes.
No? Kasi
Yes.
if you don't know all these truths, then you don't even know why you're here.
Oo. Yes.
Yes, because the truth will set us free.
Oo.
So we have to embrace the truth and we have to live the truth. And in that way, even while in this world, we are already freed. We've been freed by the clutches of this world and see that we see our lives through. Para alam natin na, sometimes we tend to think that I'll worry about it later.
Oo.
Yeah.
I won't be concerned about it. Just as
Oo, bata pa ako, ay mga
bata ka
ganyan.
pa, or I have
I
time.
don't want to think of those
ganun din,
things.
di ba?
Yeah.
Yan, pag sinabi kanina, to be free from ignorance. Huwag natin, let's not be looking for excuses not to do what we are meant to do
Oh, yes.
and to achieve the purpose we're meant to achieve.
And to think that independence alone is yung parang political independence.
Yes.
You know?
Hindi rin.
Freed
Oo.
from the clutches of others. Influence. Kasi alam mo sa mundo na natin, there's always, alam mo, akala mo, okay, hindi na ako colonize, I'm free already, the country is free. But we have been influenced in our minds.
Yeah, we are kind of like parang programmed to function in a
Oh,
certain
so
way.
now
controlled.
think-
Oh,
Wala na nga,
influenced.
we have been freed from, okay, we Filipinos are managing our country and ganyan, and deciding on what is best for us. But yet you have Hollywood.
Mga showbiz personalities
No,
na
yung
from
Hollywood.
America.
Yeah,
Yun,
you have
American influence.
McDonald's. Then you have, di ba, yung mga ganun
Big Pharma.
Di ba? You have so many things that we tend to think, then you see, they got a grip on you. Di ba? All of the
Yeah.
computers, all of these things that attracts everybody and glues you in a situation where your time and energy is spent like that because
Yeah.
there's on the other side, there's people behind that whole
Oh.
thing.
Trying to control what you
Control and
do.
manipulate.
what
Okay,
you
this is what we
buy.
have to do. This is the spin that we have to create. Ito
Yeah.
may kahit sa vaccination
Oh.
mas magaling to kaysa doon. Okay,
Oo.
kaysa gano'n. Di ba?
So marami tayong conquistadores na mga pumasok na hanggang bahay natin, hindi
Yeah,
ba?
they've taken
Tapos,
on
Hanggang
the
utak
form
natin,
of
pumasok na.
yeah,
mga
like yung
control.
social media, what is that really for,
Mm.
di ba? It's to
Tapos
make
you have-
us do things
suddenly you
certain
have,
ways.
Clothes that has to be made like this.
Yeah. And you have to
branding.
buy all the
Oh.
time.
Branded, mga
Oo.
Nike, mga
Right,
mga
diba?
gagandang
So,
brands na ano.
There are many things that we tend to kind of think that, oh yeah, we're free souls. But yet we are subjected by our senses to buy this, to eat this, to, di ba? May ganyan
Yeah.
So when we talk about freedom, may lalim at may lalim.
Oo.
Siyempre,
Yes.
we appreciate that, there are those who exploited us thoroughly because they wanted our resources. This is the mentality that is being
Mm-mm.
propagated.
Oo.
Kasi the resources is what they're after.
Mm. Yeah.
Di ba? There was a time, how long ago was this? Right after the Digmaan. Di ba?
Like around
Maraming-
1940
Maraming
something.
mga Pilipino,
Oo.
even 1950s, 1960s,
Oo.
1970s, nasa nila. Magpaano na lang tayo? 51st state of America.
Oo nga.
Di ba? May
Maging
ganun yan
USA na rin
Yes.
tayo.
Para,
United
hindi-
States of America.
pero para hindi na tayo, lilinya for visa. Di ba? But you can see all the type of influences we go through
But
in
kahit
life.
hindi tayo naging state, parang we're still very much nakaangkla
Kaya nga.
doon. Following what
Napunta
they
naman sa
have.
topic
Oo.
natin yung independence. So mahabang paksa yan. So
Oo
anyways,
nga.
today ang ating pag-usapan ay yung role ng mga
Fathers.
Tama.
Mm-mm.
okay?
Fathers.
Well,
Ah.
since you mentioned all this advertising and external forces around us that try to control us, it reminds me very much of my father because one of the things he taught us when we were growing up is huwag kayong basta maniniwala dyan sa mga advertisement na yan, sabi niya sa amin. Gamitin yung
Wise.
isip nyo. Huwag
Oo.
kayong lahat na lang sinabi, bibilin mo, bibilin mo naman.
Oo
Sabi niya,
nga. Oo.
Siyempre, gusto nila bilhin mo yan kasi sila yung kikita, pero kailangan mo ba yan?
Oh,
Diba?
nice. Nice
So,
advice.
Yes,
no?
that's one thing I learned from my father. Thank you for
Kung ano
teaching
lang,
me
kung
that.
Talagang kinakailangan
My
sa
dad.
kalam.
Mm-mm.
Pero pag impulsive lang dahil may nakita kami, narinig ka, o dahil si kaibigan may ganito, kailangan meron din akong ganon. Di ba? Di ba ganyan ang trends yan eh. So
Yeah.
yung disiplina sa ating mga pamilya, sa bahay, sa komunidad, makikita natin na, alam nyo, yung mga ama, ang role ng mga ama, na siya ang, kumbaga, pundasyon eh.
Yeah. Kung si nanay,
pamilya.
ilaw ng tahanan. Si tatay, siya yung foundation,
Siya
di ba?
siya
Yung
Wow.
nagbibigay ng strength.
nagbibigay lakas. Kasi ang ina, ang role niya, early years yan eh.
Nurturing.
Nurturing.
Mm-mm.
Oo.
Pero pagdating sa who's gonna teach the child to survive in the world.
Oo. Malaki ang
To be
role ng
responsible.
tatay.
Life
Oo.
skills.
Life
Yes.
skills,
Oo.
yan magagaling. Yung life skills, para ma-embrace o ma-appreciate ng isang teenager ngayon yan.
Mm-mm.
How will that situation work? Or even in the past, there's always interpersonal relationships. And the relationships that is being established early on the teen years nila, teenagers,
Mm-mm.
tinuturuan ka maging socially, kumbaga capacitated, kaya mo.
Oo.
Mm.
Tsaka responsible,
And
Oo.
So,
And you're able to say no.
Maybe we
to-
can ask our viewers to actually send in their maybe experiences or comments about some people who are fathers and ano yung mga naturo nila sa mga anak or sa mga
Oo.
kahit kamag-anak, hindi
Or
ba?
the fathers who are listening to us now, maybe you have some tips, to give
Share.
other fathers also.
okay,
Kasi
let's
napakabigat
greet
ng role
everybody.
nila,
Di
eh.
ba tayo
Yeah,
bumabati,
oo.
napunta tayo sa
Oo.
independence. So,
Dami
si-
natin
Good
excited
morning.
pag-usapan.
Ay, magandang umaga, Kalindi. Okay.
Oo, and Vina Pascua.
Okay. Nag-almusal na ba kayo lahat? Di ba?
And si Rose, Gemini
Gemini
Rose.
Rose. Clifford.
Si
Ating
Clifford.
kaibigan si Clifford.
Yes.
Sa Bawang.
Sa Bawang.
Bawang.
Yes.
Oo.
Then Prishni, how are you, Prishni? Magandang
And the
umaga rin.
Maynigos tribe, of course.
Yan, sa
Yeah.
mga Maynigo.
Definitely. Uy.
Yes.
Si ate.
Uy,
Ate Muriel.
Okay.
si Rosalinda rin from Japan. And si Jerudice. Okay, sina Gerard and si Didit. Hi, hello.
Mm.
And Ver is listening from Zambales. And
Good day to you also.
si Thomas din. And, yan, sabi nila, daily teach me how to be
Daddy.
humble. Daddy
Daddy.
teach me how to be humble and down to earth. Yun, yes.
These are more important kasi the grounding.
Values. Yan,
Values
usually
should be
ang mga
grounded.
share ng
Kasi
mga tatay.
Sa buhay
o
natin,
nanay.
without the proper grounding, then it's so, by the time alam mo, may mga cases, marami na ganito, by the time they're in their 40s or they get married themselves and they didn't have a strong foundation, what happens is they never learn how to be a real dad for their own children. They have some confidence issues in it. Pag lumaki ka na single parent or mom just took care of you, or you may have a complete family but yet the dad is not playing a role or his role, thinking that nurturing is okay pag bata, but pagdating ng teen life yan, or even in the time when they're children,
Yeah, children.
Ah.
Oo.
having a parent, having a dad around gives that sort of, the feeling of protection.
Yeah,
Yeah.
meron self-confidence
Yes,
ng bata.
yeah.
Marami kasing fathers ngayon, they're not so actively involved in the parenting.
Uh-huh.
They think that, the children, that's up to the mom. No, actually, a marriage makes it so the husband and wife are partners, even in being parents, being
Oo.
mother and
Oo.
father. There really needs to be a partnership,
Oo.
tulungan. Yeah, because it's a big responsibility. In fact, Tito Toby, always tells us that it takes a village to raise a child. More so, it takes both parents talaga
Yes.
to be helping each other.
Oo. Hindi pwedeng isa lang na naghihirap na disiplinahin mga bata tapos yung tatay, bahala na si nanay sa inyo,
Oo.
hindi ba?
Kasi yung iba, they were raised in that same setting where the father was not so actively
Oo.
involved. But really, the truth is, they should be more actively
Oo.
involved.
Pero nga nagtanong noon na isang father, sabi niya, how do you discipline a child? Because my dad never disciplined
Oh,
me.
yan.
So parang, ano gagawin niya ngayon? Hindi niya natutunan yun as a
Yes.
child.
See, when,
Oo.
when you discuss discipline, ang lalim ng discipline. Yung word na yun, yung value na yun.
Mm-mm.
And it doesn't just happen.
Oo.
Yeah.
It takes time and trust.
Mm-mm.
Dapat
Yeah.
may consistency,
Yes.
'di ba, sa teaching ng bata.
Yeah.
That's why they have to be partners kasi pag sinabi ni nanay, okay, pero sinabi ni tatay, no, naku, hindi na lalapit yung bata. Doon sa nagno-no, dito na lang sa laging
Oo.
yes. So that also causes confusion and magkagulo-gulo, di ba?
Kaya-
Kailangan they're one in their decision.
United sila. Supported
Yeah.
sila dun sa decision na gagawin. Hindi ba?
Yes, oo.
Para may unity sa command. Sabi nga nila. So actually, sabi ni Rina May, good morning. Tapos sabi pa ni Didit dito, my dad is my best friend.
Kaya nung nawala siya, malaking kawalan sa akin, lalo ngayon. Sad ako kasi yung Father's Day. Kumakain kami sa labas.
Yeah. You remember what you did with your father. Hindi
Oh,
ba?
yes.
Yung mga activities, those are good memories because yung bonding ninyo, na-appreciate nyo yung ginawa ng tatay. So you want to spend those moments to show also your appreciation. Hindi ba? So dapat lang na talagang sabi mo kahit even if you don't have to spend going out, but even playing games in the house or praying together, or reading stories together.
Yeah.
Hindi ba? Those are things na, kumbaga sinasabi natin, connection.
The connectivity is
Yes.
very vital. You may be there physically, but you're not connecting.
Oo.
Because sometimes, hindi ba ngayon, mas lalo, jobs are, I just do my work at home, so it's really good for parents
Yeah.
to take advantage of this situation. But if you're just glued into your work too, then definitely the interpersonal relationship doesn't take place.
O kaya pareho lang nanonood ng TV, nakakonect sila sa TV pero hindi sa isa't isa.
Oh.
Hindi ba?
When we were kids, my dad every night after dinner, he would take us under our Chico tree and tell us all these stories,
Yan,
He wasn't didactic na, ganito, ganyan. But through his stories, he would teach us so many things,
yun, maganda
Tsaka
yun.
he's so funny pa. So, you really remember what you learn,
For years,
Oh.
kasi I had such this experience all my life, basically, kaming dalawa, we were taking care of teenagers coming to us. And we have so many of them that came through our program that we were managing for many years. And, uh, it made it so that I could not do my normal, when di ba tayo magtatrabaho ako para i-nurture ko yung pamilya ko, di ba yung needs ng family ko. But when I had that responsibility, the first and foremost that came to my mind was always, I'm going to have to be around to be grounding everybody. My groundness, yung kumbaga grounded ka, it gives the sort of confidence with everybody around you who are also kind of not looking for their own grounding, needing that grounding. So this is where it's so vital on the sacrifice that you have to make to be able to provide that groundness.
Oo.
You
Kasi
know?
nga pillar hindi ba?
Oo. At saka kasi when you're a teenager, di ba, ang daming nangyayari
Unstable.
You're kind of
Yeah,
unstable. So you need a stable
You have a growth spurt
home
then,
to grow
Oo.
in. Yeah.
And then, we're just talking about the early life of a child or teen
Teen years,
years in
napaka-importante
the presence
nun,
of the
oo.
father there. Many times, if fathers do their work, their responsibility early in their child, early with their children, until, kasi as human beings, mahaba yung relationship natin habang buhay.
Oo.
How you have this relationship worked on early in your life, that will determine what type of relationship you have the rest of your life with your children.
Oo.
Yes.
And the child, the son or daughters would always be, kumbaga they have the measurement. Oh, if Papa was here, this is going to be like this. Kunyari magulang na yung yung mga anak mo. May decision making sila palagi na napoprocess nila. Kaya,
May role model kasi. Oo. If they've grown
yun
up
ang
with a role
isa sa
model.
pinaka-importante na binibigay ng ama.
Sab-
And that has to be engaging. You have to be engaging with it. You cannot just say, nagpapangaral. No. It's by example.
Oo.
Yeah.
Kasi children watch what their parents do. So nakikita nila
That's the most
ganito yung
effective way to
Oo,
teach.
ganito
Oo.
yung behavior ng tatay ko, ganito siya mag-manage, ganito siya mag-disiplina. So, ano yun yun ang pina-follow nila na
Yes,
example. Di
Like,
ba?
my children never went through the tantrums.
Mm-mm.
Kasi, tatay will not stand for it. Ako rin naman, no?
Oo.
No tantrums.
So, they
Oo.
knew, okay, I have to control myself.
Yes, those very basic things about controlling emotions and being able to be disciplined, those are very helpful for growing up,
So,
And yun na nga yun, kasi sometimes the idea is, sa eskwelahan nila matututunan yan.
ay, naku.
Which is, of course, the teachers are very busy going through their lesson plan and, sometimes they do not have time to
Plus, how
Tsaka iba yung
how deep
parenting
is that
sa school.
relationship?
Oo.
Yeah, even if you look at, we had teachers in the past in school. Diba?
Yeah.
How are you in touch with them?
wala na.
Actually, we should be working hand in hand, di ba? Not that sa teachers lang,
Oo.
tapos sa house,
It's
hindi.
good. We have to
Kailangan
appreciate
tulungan
our
tayo.
teachers, our
Oo.
mentors in school. I know they
Yeah.
made a difference in our lives.
Yeah.
But yet at the same time, we have to be also far-reaching in this one. There comes a time that you're only relating to her or to him at such a given time, right? And having many mentors in school reinforces a person, a child or a
Yes.
teenager.
Oh, that's the word. Parents should also reinforce what the children learn in school.
Yeah, pagdating
They
naman sa
reinforce at
bahay,
home. Oo.
that's why children who had that whole support at home, they will find, they're easy to in many things that they need to do in life.
Yes.
And then
Oo.
pag may hinarap silang suliranin or something difficult, they're able to cope.
Oh, they're actually more mature,
Yeah, the
with the
coping
proper
capacity yan.
guidance,
Yes.
so that when they come to school, teachers will actually enjoy or actually be very comfortable teaching them kasi wala nga mga tantrums,
Yes.
wala mga
Mm-mm.
drama and everything.
Yeah.
And they're very secure, very
And
confident
again,
yung
it's not about
estudyante.
just the
di
words,
ba?
Yes.
it's about
Oo,
action.
action.
The example that
Yeah.
they set. Oo. Actually, there was a study. Actually, many studies have been made already about the effect on active fathers on their
Active.
children.
Oo.
Yeah. So they found that preschoolers, if the father is active in raising
Mhm.
the child,
Mm-mm.
in preschool, the children tend to be more outgoing, more adaptable, and very accepting of challenges.
Oh.
Tapos sa grade school naman, the children whose fathers were actively involved, no, in raising their children, the children do better talaga in school. They get along
Mm.
well with the others, and they have very good self-esteem.
Oo.
Yeah. And as teens naman, they found that, let's say, the young girls who had very strong fathers na tinulungan talaga sila, they're less likely to end up pregnant
Oo.
early on. And also that both girls and boys, they tend to not have problems with drug abuse or alcohol, mga ganon.
Kasi
May
grounded
may grounding.
grounded.
Tsaka,
Oo.
there's reasoning kasi this is
Mm-mm.
one vital quality. The dad's present gives reason eh.
Mm-mm.
Oo.
Yung reasoning,
Hindi lang yung emotions.
hindi emotions.
ano,
Kasi
oo.
si mama, tendency ng nanay, nagiging
Siyempre may emotional
emotions,
support. Yan,
Yan
oo.
kailangan niya. Yun ang nature eh, ng
Yeah.
ina. Pero
That's her
pagdating-
role, the emotional
Pagdating
support.
sa, okay,
But being
put your emotions,
reasonable.
yeah,
oo.
you have to reason with
Yeah.
things. Kaya, hindi ka basta, kumbaga hindi ka basta nasisinag pag gano'n kang tao.
Mm.
Oo.
Kumbaga nag-iisip ka eh.
Yeah, you can step back and study what's going on. You
Hindi
don't
ka
just
impulsive,
go with
hindi
your
ka
urges.
yung mga
Oo.
urges niya. Kasi alam mo, ang ama, isang role niya eh, tinuturuan. Katulad ng example ka na, ng dad niya na,
Mm.
kung kailangan mo lang.
Oo.
You know? Pero, wag kang kasi kadalasan, if we try to want our child's attention or our children's attention because nagiging neglectful tayo sa role natin. Hindi ba nangyayari ngayon, binibili na lang natin yung
Yeah,
We
you
buy
make
their-
up with gifts,
yeah,
no?
we buy their attention, we buy their trust. That
Uh-uh.
doesn't happen. It doesn't work. It
Uh-uh.
won't work. It will never work.
Mm.
It just spoils
Because
the child.
It's a
oo.
relationship between you and, kumbaga I'm a dad, he's gonna be a dad too.
Mm. Yes.
Sooner.
He won't know how to do it if you don't show
Yeah.
him. Mm-mm.
Kasi sometimes, isip siguro ng mga lalaki na or parents, I don't want to be the bad guy to say
Ayun
no.
na nga. They
Hindi
have
ba?
this
Parang,
maling concept sa discipline.
To be loved, kailangan ibigay ko na maging close kami. Ito yung aming relationship. I am giving them what they want and
Oo,
everything.
parang laging good trip
Good
iniisip
trip.
nila.
Oo, yan. Pero as a disciplinarian, you have to say no often, but
Mhm.
you have to explain and you also have to let them feel your love. Hindi
Ano yan
ba?
naman, may technique yan.
Ano bang tawag?
Anong
It's
technique?
lovingly
Oo.
strict.
Yes,
Ah.
lovingly strict.
How you work out that technique. Siyempre,
Oo.
based on your relationship with your child.
Or
Oo.
tough
Or the
love
people.
sometimes.
Tough
It's
love.
called tough love. Sometimes, it's really tough to say no. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But sometimes you have to say no. So they learn to say no also.
Oo.
They don't just say yes if someone gives them something that's bad for
Mm.
them.
You know,
Oo.
I've seen this true. I had, for a long
Ang dami
time,
namin
nag-alaga
pinalaki.
kami ng mga lalaki.
Oh.
So you would find, you can track them,
Mm.
how they are as adults and as parents right now.
Mm.
Those we had difficulties with, are still having difficulties today.
Mm-mm. Dahil from their home pa lang,
Yeah, they
Nagka-problema
didn't
na
learn
sila.
these
You see
things.
this,
So
I
they
could see
didn't
it, I could
learn.
feel it.
No.
You try to fill in that role, but again, they only spend so much time with you, but they never spent time with me when they were younger. They would only spend 1, 2, 3 years with us. And, kumbaga, there's such thing as buka mong habulin, ihugot mo, kumbaga, may ganon. But yet, there's always that limitation of how far you can go.
Oo.
Yeah.
But yet, somehow, if you touch their lives, then they have a measurement. Right? a means to measure or to at least, kumbaga may sukatan sila. Uy, may ganito pala. Kahit na nagkulang ako sa ganito, meron palang ganito na pwedeng makatulong sa akin. So you reinforce. You play that role because
Maybe nagkulang lang sila sa bahay, pero they'll find some other solution with some other people. Na,
Yeah, like now, syempre, with modern life, with the traditional roles of mother and fathers, hindi na siya traditional lagi, di ba? Of course, we have our stepfathers, we have our ninongs, our
Oh, yeah,
godfathers, di
uncles.
ba? Our
Sometimes,
uncles. All these
natay na
fathers,
ngayon.
yeah.
Di ba maraming natay?
natay,
Oh.
meron na.
And then meron tayong
Natay
also,
nga.
meron din the mothers who, like Muriel is mentioning, there are mothers who have to be the father as well.
Yes.
You know, kasali kayo sa aming Happy Father's Day. ano, na
Yung
pinag-uusapan.
mga nagsasakripisyo talaga. na
Yes,
ina, mga
oo.
ina.
Included dyan yung ating mga father-in-law.
Kasi
Diba?
alalahanin nyo, di ba, yung mga CEO sa bahay, sino ba yung mga CEO sa bahay? Tatay o nanay?
Hindi ko alam.
Depende kung ano yung agreement. Malay natin.
CEO.
Yung sakripisyo kasi may ganun na portion yun eh. Di ba?
Oh.
Tama? So anyway, let's magbati tayo sa ating mga kasama. And, Dilisay,
Tiga Karkar. Yes,
Tiga Karkar
from Cebu.
Can you
Yes.
go down a
Oo.
bit?
Yeah.
Thomas,
Rina
Rina May,
Baker, Arlene,
Yogi Padilla.
Yes. Good morning.
and
Yes.
Carmen Badriga, Sai.
Oh.
Oh, she's saying
Meron-
something to us.
Meron isa, Sal Custodian, saying,
Uh-uh.
what if your child is into internet gaming with friends or school, and sometimes he forget to do his assignments? That's why the teachers is email telling us that they're behind in their homework. Di ba? Siyempre, again, the responsibility falls on us as parents, as a dad or a mom, as to what your child is doing. Because
Yeah.
we are responsible for the environment to provide our child.
Yeah,
So
so
the
that's
nurt-
a
the
good
nurture-
environment
Yes,
for
the
learning.
nurturing,
Oo.
it's ideally, we should be able to know the extent of what you give a child. Because you cannot separate the computers from children right now kasi pandemya, nag-aaral sila palagi.
Pero dapat may schedule kasi
Pero may
sila.
schedule
Oo.
at may monitoring at hindi pinapabayaan.
Kaya lang magagaling ang bata ngayon eh. No?
Well, ano
Meron
na yan?
dyan, teacher said,
Alam
we're
nyo,
finished, we're done.
this is
Pero hindi pa
where,
pala.
Again, this is where
Mm-mm.
the trust builds up. When your child trusts you,
Oo.
pag nagkaroon kayo ng relasyon, mismo yung child o yung anak, kahit na teenager yan, siya mismo magsasabi, oh, my dad has been helping me mold my life. And because he's careful for my own life. But yet at the same time, a father would always, siyempre, survival skills eh. Hindi niya pwedeng gawin lahat para sa anak na hindi naman siya matuto tumanggap ng pressure.
Yes. Oo.
Kasi haharapin niya sa buhay niya yan eh.
Which the tendency of the mom is to do it all, right?
Yes, to
So
do
the
it
dad
all.
is the one who's gonna say, no, let him do it. Kasi he has to
At
build
saka
his own
yung-
muscles.
Oh, hindi. Tsaka yung alternative activities na ibibigay instead
Yes,
of
there's a balancing
games on
Yes.
Saka
ano.
kasi yung games nga,
Very
if
important.
you analyze it, ang dami naman information tungkol sa, the result of games in the computer.
Yeah.
Ang dami na
Oo.
yan eh. It's not like we don't know about it.
Oo.
Yeah.
So we have to also do our work to make sure that we know the limitation that your child who's studying knows his own limitations.
Pagaya ng example ni Marisa, no? The father would bring them under the Chico tree and tell them stories,
Yes.
hindi ba? Those are things that are alternatives to, doing online games, hindi ba?
Yes.
You tell them stories, you tell them, you play some games with them, na
Yeah.
physical.
And the
hindi ba?
stories are always something that teach you something, but in a
Yes.
way, presented in a way that's so funny and so
Yeah,
entertaining.
oo.
So you don't feel like you're in a
Hooked up.
classroom, like
Oo.
being
And in the first
being
place, the
taught things
role,
like in school.
hindi naman, kung ang ama, hindi naman Miss Tapia yan eh. Yung palaging naka...
Ay, ako meron akong
Panahon,
classes.
panahon pa yan noon natin, si Miss Tapia.
Meron ba
Iba
kayong
na
mga,
ngayon.
tatanungin natin si ating technical people dito. Meron ba kayong missed up yan?
Ang
nung
mga
araw? May
teachers
ganun na ba
ngayon,
kayo nung-
nagsasayaw-sayaw
nung
pa.
ano?
Wala na,
Wala na
wala
ba
silang
kayong ganun?
kilalang
Yung panahon
image
namin,
to
pag
character
sinabing
na Miss Tapia.
Miss ganito, parang, kasi yung tenga ko,
Wala
lumaki
tayong-
yata kasi siya
Parang-
ingot sa tenga eh. Ganun ba?
Siguro yung
Saka yung ruler
stereotype.
na pinapalo sa kamay. Nako,
yeah.
pinalulod ka pa sa...
Hindi, bawal na yan ngayon.
Bawal na
ha?
pala kayo.
Bawal ang violence.
Pero nga sabi nga dito na ng mga Chinese, sabi na, if a son is uneducated, his father is to blame. No? And fathers naman, sabi sa Bible, do not exasperate your children. Instead, bring them in the training and instruction of the Lord. Okay? So,
Yeah,
talaga
at the
naman
end
sa
of the day,
tatay.
kasi
Ayan,
ganun,
kasali kasi yung spiritual learning from
Yes.
their
Yun
parents.
nga
So,
eh. That's why there has to be a balance of everything. You know, when you live in this world, we have to be able to educate your child. But everything in this world is not permanent.
Oo.
Those are the things, those are values that you need to be able to share and not just providing it by words, but actually showing it. Actions like prayer, actions like offering or service to others and serving
Mm-mm.
the Almighty. Lahat yan,
oo.
it's all part of the dynamics.
Oo.
Meron
Living
kang
your life.
kasabihan na a good father doesn't really need to teach the child. He lives a good life and the
Yes.
child learns from his
The
from his
child watches.
example.
Ayan,
Oo.
ganon. By observing.
Mm.
Di
Kasi
ba?
they have that,
Iba pa rin
that's
yung
the first
action
thing
eh, no?
they get.
Mm-mm.
Kasi as they mature, then the reasoning comes in na.
Mm-mm.
Wherein, you know, you talk, the words are there, may meaning na sa bata. Kasi sa umpisa ang bata, ano yung ginagawa niya?
Mm-mm.
Kahit you talk heavy on the ano, hindi naman eh. May vocabulary limitations yan eh.
Mm-mm.
But what is important is, alam nyo yung isang importanteng bagay, yung presence ng ama,
Mm-mm.
nadadamayan ng isang anak.
Oo. Presence and the love na
Yeah.
dadamay, di ba?
Not just that he's present sitting on the couch watching TV, but he's actively involved talaga
Mm-mm.
There's
in relating
engagement.
and teaching the
There's
child.
an engagement.
Mm-mm.
You know.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
So, but
Kasi
yun natin,
fathers have to make
si
opportunities to
Matt Rex,
relate to
good
the
morning.
children, di ba?
Salamat sa bati. No? And then that's
Si
may
Milay.
Arlene from Canada. Oh,
Milay Royo. At saka may
Milay.
sinabi yung isang comment that sometimes you don't get this kind of guidance or love from a real father. But you may have
Biological
a biological father,
Oo.
but you may have a stepfather who will love you. And that is,
That's right.
so it's
Oh,
not
wow,
a
that's
matter
really
of,
amazing
ano,
actually.
Oo.
Stepfathers who treat the children as their own and really, try to raise them up. That's
Oo.
saludo ako sa inyo.
Oo, oo,
Hindi
Those
madali yun, ha?
oo.
yeah, this is something that we should all appreciate that there's
Mhm.
such individuals.
Mm-mm.
You know, in the world that we live in, alam mo, meron nga tayong nadadamang pagmamahal sa ating mga puso.
Mm-mm.
Unang-una, nandiyan ang ating Panginoon kasama natin palagi.
Oh yes,
Na
that's
nagdidikta. Siya talaga yung talaga
Our
natin.
Father, who art in
our
heaven.
Father, our
Yes.
greatest Father.
Yeah.
Diba?
Kaya we
The
should,
real father.
we all, as kunyari parang, ano ba ang gagawin ko? Nagkukulang ako sa role ko, hindi ko maintindihan.
Mm.
There's always a way.
Mm-mm.
There's so
May
much.
guide tayo.
Yeah, ngayon, when you experience that love in your heart, you begin to, you're very conscious way of life. Yung paano ka mabuhay.
Mm-mm.
Kasi you feel that nurturing, you feel that love eh. So, syempre, ano lalabas sa'yo? Ganun din.
Oo, oo.
Your actions are dictated from within.
Yes.
You know?
Mm-mm.
So, that's why it's always important that there are many distinctions in our responsibility living our lives in this world.
Mm-mm.
And we all know that as fathers, we play a major role
Mm-mm.
in many ways.
Mm-mm.
Even a child, if you want your child to become of service to humanity or to the nature of his work that he would be eventually doing, alam nyo, it all starts at kung sino yung nagiging ehemplo na nakikita ng mga anak.
Mm-mm. Yes.
Meron nga daw kasabihan, a good father knows how to raise a good son.
Oo.
Or if you have a good son, for sure that he had a good father.
Oo. Oo, yan.
Oo.
Maganda yan. Actually, masabi rin natin that some people, okay, let's say by some arrangement, you didn't have a good biological father, wala kang male figure sa family and everything. kumbaga kulang ang ating nakuhang instruction sa buhay. Pero there is always additional information we can get from mga spiritual mentors, no? Meron tayong mga enlightened people na pwede mag-share sa atin ng knowledge. Kasi sometimes they tend to blame, ganito ako kasi tatay ko binubugbog ako,
Oo.
or kasi yung nanay ko laging wala, nagsusugal. So if we do have that lack of fortune sa bahay or sa kinalakihan natin, still there is hope, in other words, that we can seek the real love and the real guidance, even from other teachers. No?
Yes. I know someone personally who was raised by his mom.
No.
Kasi she was a single mom. But the mom arranged for it that her son would be in sports.
Oo.
And so he had coaches who were very kind to him and help him grow up,
Yes.
very nicely.
Oo.
Yeah.
Meron nga mga gagandang stories, inspiring stories of teachers who really went out of their way to help their students, not just academically, pero also personally. Meron
Parang
pang-
life coach na
life
sila.
coach.
Oo.
Meron pa nga isang story sa States na actually mag-graduation yung high school. Pero yung isang student, pumasok siya, mali yung footwear niya. So sabi sa kanya nung nag-guardia, nung nag-check sa reception, you cannot go in because you have the wrong shoes on. Ayaw siyang ipagmarcha.
Oo, to
Ayaw siyang
graduate.
papasukin.
Oo.
The guy was so frantic. Talagang hinanap niya instantly yung teacher niya na alam niya mabait talaga, na tumutulong sa kanya. And the teacher gave him his shoes na mas malaki, parang barko,
Oo.
no? Pero yun dahil pinahiram, nag-barefoot yung teacher.
Oo.
Naka-medyas lang siya. Binigay niya yung shoes niya, tapos pumasok yung bata sa hall, no? So this is sometimes we remember certain people
For their kindness.
for their kindness, and even for some advice na talagang touches our hearts, no? So those people, maybe it's not just one person but several people that we know na nakatulong sa atin in our life, and they have acted like a father,
Yes.
to us.
Pag-alam yan
Wonderful.
Kasi number one yan.
Mm-mm.
Di ba yung ano po,
Yes,
Oo.
respect,
Yeah.
no? Sabi nga sa atin diyan
sa
sa
bahay
isang comment.
nag-uumpisa yan. Di ba? Kaya ito hindi yung sometimes medyo liberal yung atin, yung parang kaibigan mo lang yung tatay mo. Kaibigan mo naman talaga ang ama mo.
Oo.
Hindi ganun nga eh.
But don't forget to show respect as well.
Yes, kasi iba yung roles. There's
Oo.
roles. Kasi
Kasi
one
may
is to understand.
modern style na ganun,
Right.
di ba? They don't want to be the one higher. Parang,
It's like
we're
buddies.
just pals.
Di ba?
Equal,
we're
equal lang
buddies.
na,
Oo.
equal.
Pero
Di ba?
mahirap magdisiplina pag
one is to
ganyan.
understand the role of a
Oo.
father besides being, kumaga, your presence is there. The responsibility given to most of us. We have to embrace that responsibility as an opportunity for us to render service and take care of not just your child, but somebody who's, kumbaga, it's a spirit soul,
Oo.
Yeah, it's actually a child of
a
God.
child of God
Oo.
that
Na-
you're being given that
Yeah.
responsibility. So this is our role then is to raise this child so that he becomes a lover of God.
No.
To prepare your child to be this way. Because if there's anything else that is of value in this world,
Yun.
that's the one.
That's the greatest
it.
gift you
Yes.
can give your child, di
So we should
ba?
not be, kaya minsan you may not have, I mean, there's disparity in people's life in this
Oo.
world. Sometimes, di ba, mayaman, mahirap. And, just
Meron
because,
able, may
just,
disabled.
just because may kaya yung isang tao, mas marami siyang may bibigay sa pamilya niya, that means mas masaya ba yun? No, it's not like
No,
that.
not necessarily. Oo.
It doesn't work that way.
Mm-mm.
What works is that this interpersonal relationship that we have, we see each other as a child of God. Maybe a parent, maybe a child, maybe a woman, woman or a man, whatever it is. There's a common ground to it. We are by nature children of God. So and then we can give, such, kumbaga, it spreads all over too. Don't just be limiting your such interactions, interpersonal relationship based on sa pamilya lang to.
Oo,
Yeah, not
it
just
is
biological,
oo.
di ba?
Yes.
Oo. So sabi nga ni Yogi, as our dear friend said, never separate your life from devotional loving service. It is definitely acceptable to find someone to come and tutor your children as long as you make sure the environment stays either neutral to God, or you may be able to teach this person a little about God. Yan. So yung choice natin of those who will influence our children is very important. Galing pa rin yan sa parent. And we have to choose good influence for our children.
Yeah, especially when they're so young and
Again,
impressionable.
ano nga
no?
yan associations pa rin.
Yes.
This is the
Oo.
responsibility of a parent. Kunyari, you want your children to to interact with others in a team way. Kunyari, may sports.
Mm-mm.
Huwag mo pabayaan sa coach lang. Kailangan kilalanin mo si coach, kailangan
Yes.
kilalanin mo kung sino-sino yung mga kasama.
Mm-mm.
Kailangan doon ka pa rin eh. Hindi ka pa rin pwedeng, sige, pabayaan mo na sila, they'll be okay. Then,
Mm-mm.
you
You
know,
cannot relinquish your parental responsibilities.
Kasi kung hindi mo kilala, baka ibang turo sa
Exactly.
kanila
Yeah.
eh.
lalo
Diba?
sa panahon ngayon.
Or
no,
it take
Yeah, and there are
advantage.
some who are exploited.
Oo, oo.
Oo.
There are things like this, sometimes you naging neglectful ka, o akala mo naging trusting ka masyado, then biglang may nangyari sa anak mo sa ganun na
Oo.
scenario, then for the rest
Freak
of your
out.
life,
Oo.
you'll be kicking yourself because it might have a long-lasting impact
Long-term
on the
Oo.
child.
effect. Oo.
Ganun yan eh.
So-
The idea is to be, the bottom line of it, that your child or the person that you have raised, even if they are adults already,
Yeah.
your presence is always to be felt by them. The influence that you had in their life will be always there.
Oo.
Pag magulang ka, kahit nga napalaki mo at nahiwalay na sa'yo, you still feel, anak ko to di ba? So you're
Oo.
Or
still
the
out
children
for their
always
good.
look
Ano
at
ba?
you.
The good.
Ay, hindi na
They're
kaya na.
good.
Ako nga minsan, I'm not always there to talk to them and
Mm-mm.
like that anymore. They live their own lives already. They're
Yes.
adults, they have children, they live elsewhere.
Yeah.
And you're always there to touch base.
Yeah.
May
Yeah.
titingnan mo na lang, okay.
Okay pa
where
ba
you-
kayo dyan?
Where you,
Oo.
where you on this level? Okay, how are the
Yeah.
children? Are you doing this? Siyempre,
Yeah.
magbibigay ka ng payo.
Oo.
Parang minsan reminder lang.
At saka sometimes, minsan, they need to open up and they're looking for an opportunity to share what they're going through.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
Tapos yung advice mo, because maybe you have gone through something similar,
Mm-mm.
or alam mo naman yung ganitong klaseng problema, it's
You know,
still valuable.
There's one
Oo.
thing that is so important that many fathers make it a point. But always remember, when you teach your children and that you live as an example that we are children of God, on the time that you are already about to leave this world, yung may sakit ka na, may ina na yung katawan mo, or you reach certain age where you cannot work and function as much as you used to when you were younger, you will find that your children will always step up and step in there.
Mm-mm.
They would reinforce the limitations of what struggles you're going through.
Yes.
When you did work on your responsibility early to nurture them as children, raise them to be responsible beings, then they embrace this responsibility, they appreciate this, then you know what? Sooner or later, on time, sa buhay mo as a magulang, tumanda ka na,
Mm.
they will be always there for you. They will not be. Alam mo,
They will
Yes.
reciprocate the way you
Oo.
treated them as they were growing
Oo.
up. Ganun,
kasi
then they
yun
learn
nga
to
yun
do
eh,
that same.
it's a deeper
kindness.
relationship.
Mm-mm.
It's a relationship based on caring and loving one another.
Mm-mm.
And that begins again from our heart.
Mm-mm.
The first person who will show a child unconditional love, where's that coming from?
Parents.
Comes from the
Mhm.
parents. Okay, I want to say, sa mga ama, na,
Si tatay, si papa, si daddy, ano man ang tawag sa inyo.
Si Lolo.
Oo. I hope that you all be fine
make
and
the best of
thank
being
you
a father.
so much for all you
Okay.
do. Oo.
Maraming bumabati raw na Happy Father's Day sa lahat ng mga ama, kahit hindi kayo father, pero kayo ay tito, or kayo ay good friend of the family of children. then this is also your day.
No, you know,
Yes.
ganyan yan eh. Because
Actually, next week, we're still talking about
we're
daddies.
still
There's a
talking
lot
about it
to
kasi
say.
next week pa yung Father's Day.
Oo.
Ah,
Pero we
oo.
started now, excited kami. Marami
Oo.
tayong kailangan ipagpasalamatan kasi pagdating sa mga fathers natin.
Okay, thank you
Yes.
so much.
To
Oo.
Mike Rex, thank you for joining in also.
Have a nice weekend.
Next
And
week, please share with us your stories about fathers.
Yeah, may assignment pa kayo from Tita Marisa.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Pangkalusugan, pangkalikasan, go Palakas!